Hey guys, I'm just on my walk. It's a beautiful day again, at least a few hours. Let me share with you what is my view on training and how I like to train myself, also my clients. I'd like to first find out how many days a week you'd like to commit to training. If it's, let's say it's 3 times a week and it's your goal is strength training. So if it is a strength training, it's basically performance focus. Okay, it's not hypertrophy, it's not the body shape, but it's the strength focus. So I would say that you want to set up your Monday, Wednesday and Friday, for example, or Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, so you will have one day off in between. And I like to work on total body each time. I don't like to isolate. I think isolation training, meaning like, let's say you only do the upper body or only do the lower body, is more for the bodybuilders. But I like to train for performance. Of course, we all like to look good as well. But for me, it was always making sure I'm stronger and I perform and I do the movements correctly. So if that's the goal, you can train kind of fully functionally. That means the whole body workout each time. Now, another level is you need to look at is how hard you train each session. I believe you can't go 100% all the time, because you actually start to lose the performance if you do that, because your body can't cope with kind of demonstrating constantly your full strength. You need to first really establish for maybe 8 weeks. It's a building phase where you're actually building your strength. So you work maybe 80%, 85% of your best, and you work in that type of sphere. You don't go into maximum gains first 8 weeks. So that means when you are in about 85% of effort and in that bracket, that means you do, let's say, 3 sets, 4 sets. Your rep scheme is probably about 2 reps, 3 reps, 5, 6, maybe up to 8 maximum, okay? But up to 6, you work on strength training. Now, in terms of recovery in between sets, you want to have up to 3 minutes recovery in between sets. So let's say your set is 5 reps, but it's 85 to 90%. It's quite heavy, so you need to recover from it. So that means you want to have up to 3 minutes. If you would want to work on the metabolic conditioning, for example, then your rest periods can go down to maybe, anything. Like anything you go from 3 minutes down, it's becoming more like a metabolic conditioning. So you might have literally that you do a set on every minute on a minute, where you're really pushing your metabolic adaptation. Now the question is, why we're having these 3 minutes recovery periods in between sets? It's mostly to recover your nervous system, because muscular system can recover faster, but your nervous system is not there. We want to get it at least to about 80% of recovery, and then we can focus on another set nice and fully. Now, if you don't recover fully, if you don't recover the full, let's say 3 minutes, you go after 1 minute and you're not fully recovered, your nervous system is only 50% there, then you're basically making your next set less quality set. Basically, you won't be able to do maybe the really good form, or maybe you can't really do all 3 reps or all 5 reps, whatever that is, properly well, or maybe you fail after 4 reps when you're supposed to do 5 reps. So that's why the recovery is important as well. Now, another very important aspect is how long you should be training. I think training sessions could be anywhere from 20 minutes all the way to 1.5 hours. It depends what it is. It depends in what phase you are. But in general, I don't like to keep it longer than 1 hour. I think in 1 hour, obviously with the warm-up, and the older you are, you want to make sure you do a really good warm-up. Including everything, even like cool down at the end, shouldn't be longer than 1 hour. And why it shouldn't be longer than 1 hour? because of course after some time we start to fatigue. Whether his nervous system starts to fatigue or the muscular system starts to fatigue, the bottom line is we won't be able to maintain the same level of quality of those movements. So once you start to diminish that, you want to make sure that you stop, you're done for a day. And therefore there is a sweet spot in a training session where you want to stop and you stop at the peak. You don't want to start to do weak sets, meaning you won't be able to lift the same weight for the same amount of reps, or you start to really cripple your form. So all these things are important when you're considering the length of the session. Now these obviously mostly apply for the strength training. I'm talking about strength training where your aim is to get stronger, your aim is to build strength. So in obviously endurance training is again different. So I'm not talking about, let's say, metabolic conditioning training or endurance training. I'm purely talking about strength and power if you're trying to develop. Now, after you've done your 8 weeks of the foundation of the building of the strength with about 85%, 90%, then you can go for another 3 weeks into intensifying phase, where you go into much harder phase, probably about 92, 95, 97% of your best. That's where you start to feel that because you build over those 8 weeks, you build the strength already, you will feel you're stronger, so you will be able to lift more. Therefore, the percentages are going up. And those 3 weeks, so meaning week 9, 10 and 11, you can go harder. And that's basically where you're aiming towards the end of it, which is the last week of the 12-week program, which is a testing week where you're actually testing your PR, your strength. That's where you actually test it and demonstrate it. But before that, you're building, intensifying, and then you demonstrate your best, okay? So this is very important to understand, because a lot of people constantly try to demonstrate the best strength, but you can't do that all the time. And especially you're getting older, because what happens is basically you just get injured. Or you literally stagnate, or you don't even fancy to go into training because it's kind of, you are dragging it. When I said that I'm doing the functional training, and that means is literally working on the total body each time I am going to train. That means I'm using my lower body, my upper body, my arms, shoulders, core, everything, okay? How do I split it? I always make sure I have one upper body push movement. That could be dips, that could be press with the bar or dumbbells, that could be bench press, it could be dumbbell press, any kind of press which can be. Next one is any kind of upper body pull. So this could be, for example, obviously pull-ups, rows, but single arm bend over rows. It could be any type of rows where you're using your back muscles. So pulling. Another one is number 3. So I make sure I do some kind of lower body push exercise. So that could be squat. That could be lunge, that could be step up. Then any kind of lower body pull exercise, that could be Romanian deadlifts, that could be glute ham developer, that could be, for example, single leg reach, or do a single leg deadlift, or hinging, balancing, okay? So anywhere where you work on your hamstrings. Then I make sure I do some kind of core. I do dragon flag, or it would be planks, or it would be with the ab roller, would be going rolling, or I could do some kind of a rotational movement on a cable machine where I really work on the rotation, okay? All these movements are excellent. And when I hit all these 5 parts of my body, or these 5 kind of pillars, then I make sure that I work on the whole body, and that's very important for the performance.